Hi, I'm Ben, and this is We're Done Pretending, a Reflective Rebels podcast. If your days define you instead of the other way around, if you're doing everything for everyone else whilst drifting through your own existence, then this is for you. Today, with me on the sofa is someone who's putting down their mask to share what's actually happening in their life. Not the polished LinkedIn version, but the honest truth about struggle and joy and mess and meaning. By listening, I hope you'll feel less alone in whatever you're going through. Maybe learn something about yourself and find the courage to make changes that feel good. Because we want more than just coping. We want a life that feels like ours. Let's listen to a fellow human. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you. We'll keep that in. Welcome and thank you for joining me. So we normally start somewhere a little unexpected just to ease us into the conversation. And my question for you today is, what's your go-to meal when you can't be bothered to cook anything fancy?
Oh, well, yeah, no, thank you for having us, first of all. Yeah. It's go-to meal, like most people, we've got an air fryer because it is the year 2025, right?
Yeah, I have. Well, we've got one. I've never used it, but we'll come back to
Really?
that. You carry on.
Oh, my word. So the best thing ever is a fakeaway. So, like, you go to your Iceland and you've got your TGI Fridays chicken strips in the freezer and you're like, right, I cannot be jeered. Takeaways are £1 billion these days. Mm-hmm. Let's bosh some chicken in the air fryer. Let's have a wrap and let's pretend we're having a dirty takeaway. But yeah, so there you go.
There's too many things in there. So, right, air fryers, I don't understand them. I am still living in 1980 and I can't get my head around it. What's so great about them?
They're just a tiny oven and they just work. So, like, there's none of this preheating nonsense. My missus was a chef for many years.
Oh, okay.
And so at home, she can't follow instructions. She can make whatever you like, you know. And she's from Irish family, so she'll make a great big vat of anything it is that she's making. But yeah, you tell her to follow the instructions on the back of a packet, and everything's black.
Refused.
Absolutely. So yeah, air fryer, bosh it in, happy days.
We've got one in the garage. My father-in-law gave it us, and it looked too mystifying, so I just put it to one side. And
maybe that's why I like it.
It's the gadget. It's the gadget side.
Yeah.
Go on, tell us about your love of gadgets then. What's behind this love of gadgetry?
I think I just always liked tech and cars and tech. It's just me. My mum likes to say that I like shiny with buttons. That's my thing, and I think that's just always been the case. But yeah, obviously, you know, I do it for work. But yeah, just I'm a tech man.
Where did that first come from then? Was that there all, you know, in childhood? That love of things that are shiny with buttons on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my dad, I'm definitely a dad's lad, and he was a motor mechanic all his days, I should say. And he worked for BMW since I was little. And so I would see him fixing things. You know, I'd go to the garage to help on a Saturday morning, and I'd see him taking things to bits. I'm like, I can take things to bits. So that's where I would do, you know, if there was a radio that was going in the bin or something, you know, I'd be giving it to take to bits because it'd never go back together.
I was going to ask that because you were quite specific with your language. You said you could take it to bits.
Yeah.
Which, okay, if you were recycling something might be a useful skill. But you were learning.
I was learning, yeah. Like, what's inside these magical boxes that do stuff?
Yeah.
So you take it to bits and go, what does that do? And yeah, I mean, I would try and put it back together, but yeah, no.
That bit mattered less.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Fake away. If that's the off night, what's an on night? Do you like to cook? If your wife's been a chef, does she do most of the cooking, or are you what?
We're pretty, we're 50-50 with it, you know. We both do like to cook. That's our idea of a nice night in is, you know, in the kitchen. We'll get the tunes on, you know, maybe have a beer and get the cooking going. My latest is biryani.
Oh,
Started
nice.
making lamb biryani. So I found that my mum will eat that as well because she's getting a bit older. She's not in the best of health these days, and she's not great at eating. So if I find something that she'll eat, I'm like, right, Mum, get over here. making a biryani, put your big pants on. So yeah, fed them on Saturday. That was good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Go on, talk us through biryani. What have you done it a few times? Are you the kind of person that likes to learn something and then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've done it maybe 2-3 times now. And I'm very much a one-pot wonder. You know, we'll bash in. There was somebody who was saying they don't cook with onions the other day, and I was like, how do you make anything taste of anything then? Because surely you just start with onions in anything.
Yeah, most things we cook probably start.
Yeah, so firing the onions, the garlic, the lamb, get that browned off. Curry paste in there. If I'm feeling adventurous, I'll make curry paste. But yeah, you end up with every pot and pan in the kitchen being used at that point. And yeah, I just bash everything in the pan. I'll be honest, this weekend's didn't come out as well as the last one. But we live and we learn, right?
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
It was too big a pan.
And I'm really intrigued by people's eating habits as well. So did you make this and then you said you had your mum round? Are you sat around the table? Are you on your laps watching some telly? Describe the situation? Yeah,
so we do try and eat in the kitchen as much as we can. On Saturday, we actually didn't eat together because we tend to eat a bit later on, and Mum likes to be home. And
so you fed her, and then
yeah. But yeah, when it's the weekend and we've got time, it'll be a Saturday night and we'll be in the kitchen and we'll be there all night, sort of thing. And one of our favourite things to do is get on Spotify and fire it on the speaker in the kitchen. And we'll just take turns putting tunes on and like, oh, that reminds me of such and such, and you'll go down the hip hop rabbit hole one night, and the next night it'll be some horrific EDM. I'm into my dance music, and I used to like to DJ with a bit of trance music. So I still
more shiny buttons.
Shiny buttons, yeah, man. Have you seen the amount
with lights?
Exactly. You've seen the amount of faders on a mixing desk. It's the best thing ever. So yeah, that was me.
So was that something you were doing sort of in your bedroom, or what? Tell us more about this DJ side. Go on.
Yeah, so I did do it in my bedroom, and my oldest sister, her ex-husband, he used to be resident DJ at the Malt Shuffle. I don't know whether you remember that.
I do.
That was, they used to call that the Grab a Granny Club in Carlisle. And, and so I think they opened, was it like a Thursday night? They didn't do weeknights, but they opened a Thursday night and it was absolutely dead quiet. And I think they opened at like 8 o'clock or something like that. And I would be 11 or 12. And Mikey would say to us, come down, you can do the first hour or so.
And you were age 11?
Yeah, I was like 11 or 12-year-old, something like that, yeah. There was nobody in the club. It was open, but nobody was in there. I used to think I was Billy Big
I bet you did.
You know, actually in a real club behind some real decks, and it was loud, you know. They'd let us turn it up and whatnot, and I was there with the old Zombie Nation and all that carry on, and I was, oh man, I thought I'd rock up to school the next day. Oh yeah, I was DJing in the club last night, you know. Loved it. I was never very good, but you know.
Is that true, or are you being sort of self-deprecating?
No.
Were you all right? Were you okay?
No. No. I remember I've got one mix on SoundCloud, and
okay, right. Can we have the details then, and we can drop that in the show notes?
Yeah, dude, I'll hit you up with it afterwards. Right, it's the only one that I would ever admit to, and so because
I'd rather have some that you would rather not admit to that we could put in the show notes.
They're not recorded though. There's no evidence for those. But I remember I practiced those mixes loads because I wanted something that I could record and send away and whatnot. No, I was never very good.
So you were trying to send them off. Was there a point at which you thought this could be a career? This could be something I'm going to pursue?
I wanted it to be, but yeah, reality comes and slaps you in the face, doesn't it? You know. No, I think there was a point at which I realised maybe you're not as good at this as other folk are. Maybe we'll find something else.
How did you realise that? Was there a moment, or How did it fade away? Because you're not still there doing your hours set at the malt shovel.
No,
what?
no, I'm not.
Well, maybe you are. I've made an assumption there.
No, I'm not. No, but I can't really put my finger on what it was. I think it was just, you get older and you start noticing things. And I was fairly into it at one point. I would get the Mixed Mog magazine and you'd be reading about where these folk are going and who they're playing out to and everything like that. And do you remember the Ministry of Sound annuals every year? I had them for years and years on end, and I would absolutely wear them CDs out. They were my favourite. I just, you just get a little bit older and you think, my mixes don't sound quite as good as that.
That's that.
Yeah.
I love that picture, though, of you guys on a Friday night with the Spotify on, going down memory lane.
Yeah, it's great. It's great crack. I think, especially when I'm in front of computers all day, every day, I do like that. I like to get away from it. And all right, you're on your smartphone, pick your tunes and whatever. But yeah, I like to just sit down in the kitchen, away from most of the tech, and get the tunes on and just enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in your house, but I won't finish work till 6 or 7 at night. And then there's the dogs to walk, there's the tea to make, and everything else like that. By the time you sit down, it's yawn time, and you're not fit for doing much.
Yeah, we're chaos with taking kids to football and stuff, and
Dad's taxi.
Yeah. I've got a light on the top and everything. Yeah,
good on you, man.
Yeah. Tell us more about this love of tech then, because obviously it's carried through, you said, into your job that you're doing now. Did it carry on? It carried on in the DJing. How else has that sort of weaved through, if you like?
Yeah, I think it was that theme of getting older and realising things. Like when I was a kid, I used to say that I wanted to be a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
And then, at some point you start to realise about, I've obviously got a couple of disabilities. For those that don't know, I've got an artificial left leg, which is not going to be entirely conducive to carrying...
firefighting.
Carrying, people out burning buildings isn't going to go particularly brilliantly. So you notice that at one point, and the tech just came in, and I remember building PCs from quite a young age, and I just seemed to have an aptitude for it, and so I just followed that kind of career path. I went to college and all that business, and I worked for Capita for a lot of years, and really enjoyed that, and it was one of them things that I could just be good at. When we were talking about the DJ and not being particularly good at that, this was something that it came naturally to me. So I just sort of ran with it.
Yeah. You don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but it's interesting that at some point in your childhood, a fireman was possible.
Yeah.
And then it became, there was a realisation, or you decided that it wasn't possible because of your disabilities.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, isn't it?
It is.
What's happened there and how that came about, a bit like with the DJing or whatever. But how did that?
I've got to give all the credit to my folks. So I'm adopted as well, and one of the things that I'll never, as much, my mum will go on and on. She loves to tell the story about how when I went to them as foster care. Yeah, my dad wasn't at home; he was away doing a course for the MW, and they dropped this baby off with my mum, and my dad would ring of an evening, as you did in those days, no mobiles and whatnot. And she'd fill him in on what was going on, and she says, "Oh, we've had this little boy dropped off. He's got one leg," and she says, "We're keeping him." And the point of that, what I was going to say is, I'm never 100% sure why they did that, because it was always going to come with its challenges, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm just full of admiration for them for what they did. And getting back to your question of how that realization came about, it's just guidance from the folks. Just gently all the time, obviously super, super supportive about whatever I wanted to do, but also, giving me that pragmatism, giving me that realism, age appropriate, as I go through. And I don't mean to say there was ever a day when either of them sat down and went, "You cannot be a fireman, you'll fall over." However true that is, but definitely that realization came because of their guidance. Yeah.
How did they strike the right balance then? Sounds like they got a lot right. How did they strike that balance right?
Yeah.
Thinking of myself as a dad, and it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's possible, and what do you encourage? How do you gently be pragmatic, like you said?
Yeah. So I think there's maybe two threads to that. I think, one story I get told is that when I was a real small baby, my dad would put my bottle on the dummy or whatever it is I wanted. He'd put it the other side of the room, and I had to crawl and go and get it. Yeah, because when I was that small, the doctors and whatnot, they weren't sure what I would be capable of and what I wouldn't be, and they were fairly adamant that I'd be mentally handicapped as well as physically, which obviously wasn't the case, and so it was never clear what as I said, what I'd be capable of.
Yeah.
What I'm told is my dad was the one that will push me on and be like, no, you'll go and get it. If he wants it, he'll go and get it. And the other part of that was, I remember I've had different kinds of legs through the years. As you can imagine, I get, as children's bodies develop and the muscles are different and whatnot, but also technology changes. And so I'd get a different kind of leg and you'd have to learn to use it.
Again.
Yeah. And that happened 2 or 3 times through growing up. And a memory I actually have is I would go to the radiator and I'd pull myself up by the radiator, and my dad would be like, "No, you'll put your hands on the floor, like they showed you in the hospital, hands on the floor, and we'll stand up properly." And at the time, you don't appreciate it at the time, do you?
No.
But looking back, that's the best thing anybody could have done for me. And I keep saying my dad this, my dad that. Obviously, my mum was there as well, with the same tone going through, and as I say, yeah. But I think the other side of it is just that whole kind of working class family thing. The old cliche that everyone says, everybody works for everything they've got, and that was the values they were instilling in me as well.
What a lovely story! What a lovely. Oh yeah, lovely story.
They're all right, my folks.
Yeah. Mine too. Yeah, they're all right. How did that affect school then and that kind of part of your childhood?
Yeah, so early in school, in infants and juniors and stuff, there was still that theme of they weren't quite sure what was possible for me.
Yeah.
And I remember at least one summer, I would come home with the exercise book that we were doing, like the maths book and whatnot. And I hadn't done it. I hadn't finished it in the school year like all the other kids had. And so I got sent home with it in the summer. And looking back on that, there was no reason for that. There was never a point where I wasn't developing, mentally as I should have been. But it was, as I keep saying, nobody knew what I was capable of. And so that kind of, as I did grow up and my folks were more sure of who I was and what I could do, they would be the ones going, "No, he's just messing about." Getting told. And as soon as that started happening, I was pretty good at school. I think like most kids, I didn't enjoy it overly, just because in general I don't like being told what to do. Who does? So yeah, I think when I got into my stride with it, it did come more naturally, and I did find that I do like to learn. I like to know stuff.
Yeah, that bit of your brain that wanted to take those things apart.
Exactly that. Yeah. I like to know why.
Wanted to understand. Yeah. So you mentioned school, college, Capita, and you found this thing that you described as being good at.
Yeah.
what part of you motivates you towards the technology, towards the science, towards the shiny buttons?
I think the thing I like about it is there is a correct answer. It either works or it doesn't work. And one of my pet hates in the IT and computer science space is when people will say, "Oh, sometimes things just happen." No, they don't. There is a reason why an IT system will fail, and I love to find that reason. I'm not saying I don't get frustrated with it. I absolutely do. But there's a reason for everything, and I love that. It can take you all day to dig into some code. And it's because I will have made a mistake, or one of my team or whatever else. You got to find it. It's not good enough to send that out into the world where, every fourth Wednesday when the wind blows the wrong direction, it needs a reboot. No. Not good enough. There is a correct answer. There is a reason, and we will find it.
So quite a perfectionist in that sense?
I don't know, actually. I'm not certain that. I think in some things I am. I think in some things I... But yeah, I don't think perfectionist fits me very well, actually. Okay. I don't know why I would say that, having said what I said about,
it needing to be perfect.
Yeah.
But not for that reason of, okay. So black and white then.
Yeah.
It's about that. It's about certainty.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, about finding out why. It's the why. I think that's what it comes down to. It's the why. Like you were saying about, I was describing taking things apart. Why does that radio work? What is the bit that makes the sound in the radio? Can we find it? Can we touch it? What happens if I touch it while it's on? You only do that once. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Does that spread out into your wider life then?
Yeah.
Or is it just work? And if it does, how?
Yeah, definitely that black and white attitude does spread out into wider life. And I have definitely been accused of being not the most sensitive at times.
Okay.
Because, I'm interested in the reason for everything. And sometimes in life, that's not the important thing, is it? It's the feeling around things that is important. And somebody doesn't need to have to explain themselves and explain their feelings to somebody else, to have them feel comfortable with that. And that's something I definitely had worked on. And I think I've become a lot better at it latterly. I don't know whether you know, but I'm involved with the Samaritans charity. And so that was... It was quite a deliberate move, Samaritans is all about feelings and everything like that. So I was like, right, okay, well in this world of digital and black and white and all this, let's push ourselves and go and do something where the key is the feeling, Let's see how that fits.
Just a quick pause. At Reflective Rebels, I'm on a mission to spread joy. I create these podcast conversations because I think we're all hungry for something real. Not advice, not quick fixes, just honest human stories that remind us we're not alone in the mess. If this conversation is making you feel something, would you help me grow the rebellion and share it with just one person who might need to hear it? Maybe someone who's also tired of pretending everything's fine. Because every person who finds these stories makes this little rebellion against perfectionism and exhaustion a little bit stronger. Back to our conversation. How did you make that decision then? So for someone who does love black and white and is very comfortable and enjoying what they're doing, to then suddenly go, right, I recognise this is an area that I could develop. This emotional intelligence I would, talk of as a coach. To recognise that is one thing. How did you become aware? And then to decide to do something about it is not... It doesn't happen often. A lot of people aren't working on themselves like that. What led you to go, right, I'm going to do something about this?
I think some of it was, so I'm a bit of a hippie. I think that we all should look after each other a bit more. And I think that, again, you know, as you get older, those kind of thoughts develop, don't they? And I know that's a big thing for you, and that's why we get on, isn't it? And it was out of a bit of a sense of community, and about doing something that wasn't just to benefit me. Obviously, I'm talking about, you know, developing emotional intelligence, as you say, which was one of the motives. But the other side of it was I genuinely did want to do something for other people. And that seemed to be something that fit. So, you know, we touch on disability and things, which narrows your scope a little bit, doesn't it? So, you know, standing and working in a charity shop probably isn't going to work for me. Yeah. I can't stand up for that length of time, blah, blah, blah. But sitting, talking to folk on a phone, well, crumbs, I can do that. So that's where that came from. And actually, as I got into it, like most people do, I really enjoyed it. And it's super rewarding, you know?
Yeah. Is it hard? I would imagine it's quite difficult as well as rewarding to do.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. Yeah. In fact, I was on shift yesterday, and I probably had the most difficult call that I've ever taken yesterday. And that was hard, and it was bittersweet because the end of the call was what you would hope for as a Samaritan listening volunteer, and it was difficult to listen to what that person was going through. But when you reflect on it, it's like, well, thank goodness there was somebody there, and that's really rewarding. So that side of it, you know, afterwards you can go, well, flipping heck, that feels great. But at the time, and even now, you know, when I can remember the things that she was telling me and whatever else, you know, it's difficult, but it's worth it. It is worth it.
How does it affect you emotionally then, doing that, taking a call like that?
Well, the thing about the training that you get, it's absolutely exceptional. And they've got a number of... Well, there's one sort of ritual that Samaritans listening volunteers have, and it's at the end of the shift, you'll shred any notes that you've taken. So, as most people know, a conversation with a Samaritan is confidential. But what we sometimes do is, you know, sometimes somebody will get on the phone and they'll sort of outpour.
Yeah, they'll just...
Yeah. And so what you don't want to do is get details wrong and forget and whatnot. So you'll scribble some things down on a scrap of paper in front of you. But to maintain that confidentiality, we don't keep any of that. But as I say, as a part of ritual, at the end of the shift, you actually shred it and you watch it go through the shredder. And it's such a symbolic thing. And you do your shift in the centre with another listening volunteer. You never run a shift on your own. And you leave the building and you leave that conversation and that caller and everything else. You leave it in the building and you walk away from it. We were talking earlier about horrible, dirty EDM music. And I've generally got it in the car. When I jump back in it, you know, we'll go up the road listening to something, you know, horrible, monotonous, beautiful beats. And it's gone then. It's gone.
And that purges it.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Music's a powerful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is music big in your life?
Big, yeah. Not dance, I'm going to say. I do listen to eclectic. But maybe, you know, if there was a 90s dance tune came on, yeah, I could probably have some nostalgia for that. But it's not my go-to when I get in the car. Yeah.
What is in your car?
Well, it's my hippie days as well. So the kids, you know, if I put my Forest Soundbathing or some Zen music on, that really drives them insane. That's one of my go-tos. Like if I've had a heavy coaching session or I'm trying to kind of recharge for a coaching session coming, then I'll use some of that.
And you listen to that in the car?
Yeah, just to find the bit.
You must be the most chilled out driver in the world.
I do try.
Wowzers.
Trying to, not always. I do try. It's a really big thing. I'm really proud, amazed, in awe of people that can do the Samaritans thing. I think it's amazing. It's really, of all the volunteer roles to do, I think as someone who's never done it, probably one of the hardest.
I think you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised what normal people are capable of.
Yeah.
And like I said, the training that they give you, it's absolutely astonishing. And I use it all through my life now. Samaritans, they're just there to listen.
Yeah.
Samaritans will never give you a solution to something. Because for one, we're not experts on anything. And for two, if somebody gives you, if somebody tells you what to do, well, that's, it's not valuable. Whereas if it comes from you, I'm talking to a coach.
I was going to say, that's why I love coaching.
Yeah.
And I tell people at the start, I don't give any advice, and their jaws sort of drop and they look a bit quizzical if they've not had any coaching before. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have all the answers in the world, but they might be completely useless to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, when they train normal people to just listen, amazing things happen.
It's a superpower, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And I help a little bit with the training of the new Samaritans coming through. And one of the little anecdotes that I'll share is, if ever I'm talking to a supplier or anything in business where you're at loggerheads, I want one thing, you want another. Samaritans teaches you to be comfortable with the silence.
Yeah.
And I can hold a silence for, longer than is comfortable for most people because I've had that training. And it's astonishing what the other party will concede to break that silence.
Fill the silence.
Yeah.
It does make us really uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I find the same. And I had some client feedback the other day specifically about silence and how uncomfortable that it can make them feel. My job as a coach isn't to make people feel comfortable necessarily, because that's where, it's when people are really thinking.
Yeah.
It's where thinking happens. And if we don't have a bit of quiet, we don't really do any thinking.
Absolutely.
Well, nothing's going to change. Yeah. Oh, good for you. Good for you. So we're painting a good picture here. We've got tech, we've got food, we've got volunteering.
Yeah.
What else? What else makes up the wheel of your life?
Oh, probably two things. Cars and camping.
Okay. Where do you want to go first?
Let's do camping.
Yeah, I've got more understanding of that one.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
and cars, you can teach me like we did about air fryers, but camping I can relate to. Go on, tell us about that.
Yes,
Where did it start? First camping trip ever that you remember?
Oh, what was the first one? Well, I think as your kids and teenagers and stuff, they'll have been the odd, somebody's back garden, with the hooch and whatnot. But yeah, I remember I've got a good pal down in Sheffield. He runs a software consultancy that's really, similar size and similar pattern and stuff to our DevOps consultancy. So really good pals going through things together, sort of thing. And he's wild into his camping. And he took me out. He's like, yeah, let's go. And our running thing is we tend to go out in bitterly cold weather because we're neither of us terribly smart. So yeah, and I remember once we went to Keswick, and it was in the winter. I think it was like December or something, and off we went for this camp, and we couldn't quite get to where we wanted to go to. So I was like, well, I tell you what, it's not quite cricket. We'll get wronged if we get caught, but let's set up here. We'll get up at dawn. We'll be away before anyone knows. It'll be fine. Leave no trace. All of that carry on. So we set up, and on my pal Max, he realises that he's got the wrong pegs for his fancy tent that he bought. He'd never used it before, and he needed a pole in the middle for the tension. And he couldn't get the tension with these pegs. He needed sand pegs because the earth was too sandy. What will we do? Well, there's not a lot we can do. It's dark now, and we've mentioned my leg a couple of times. I'm not the best.
You're not going to run down the hill.
It's not going to go brilliantly. So we're like, right, okay, well, we're not too far away from the car. Let's pack up, and off we went back to the car, and fell over numerous times, but that's okay. We just call that a Saturday in my world. So we get in the car and we drive home. And as I say, he's from Sheffield, so he just stayed at mine. And I says, well, we said we're going camping. Let's go camping. So we set up the tents on the front garden.
Very good.
And my missus gets home from work at like 9 o'clock and she sees us on the camp chairs in the front garden. And you just see her getting out of the car going, oh, my goodness, I thought I was going to have a nice quiet night. I'd taken the dog with us as well. And she thought, I'll get home. I don't know, I'll put my PJs on. I'll watch some nonsense on the telly. And here's us going, hey! Yeah, but these days we've got a camper van and we just take off and under the stars, all that carry on. Happy days.
Brilliant. What is it about it then?
I think it's the same as the sitting in the kitchen with the tunes. It's getting away from the tech. Although it is absolutely my life's passion, it wouldn't be healthy for it to be your only thing, would it? So I do like to get out and it's a bit of a challenge as well, isn't it? When you're out and about and you've got a camper van, you've got everything you need, really, haven't you? But there's always little challenges to overcome, and I quite like that. And just going off for a wander with the dog and everything, and well, now 2 dogs. Yeah, good times. Yeah.
So you've mentioned this hippie side and you've mentioned the stars, and it's sort of contrast, I suppose, to the techie side. I don't know why in my mind, but
yeah.
And I think you said later in life as well. Where's that shift come from? Where's the hippie side? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I've had pals who have religious faith, and that's not something that I have, but it's something I think I admire. I think if somebody has a faith, they've got something in their life that I don't, and it is just that sort of sense of community and things like that. And so I think it's not something I don't want to go out and find a religion. I don't think it's something that would fit me. But I do resonate with the idea that we're all here to look after each other. We're all the same. We're all, we're gonna look after each other. We're gonna love each other a bit more and help each other out. And I think, just that idea of getting a little bit older and realising that stuff doesn't really matter. And the drive for bigger and better and faster stuff isn't going to make you happy. It's the people and the relationships that you have that will make you happy. And I think that was just a bit of a realisation, and I hope to sort of gear my life more towards that the older I get.
Do you think there was anything specific that happened to sort of nudge you towards realising that, or?
Yeah, definitely. You asked me before we started recording whether there was any no-go areas, and I did check with my missus because I wondered whether it would come up. But we tried for children for a few years. It didn't quite pan out. We never did go down the sort of medical route and find out what the issue was and everything. Because, as I say, I was adopted, and it was always sort of in the back of my mind that that's a completely valid way to have a family.
Yeah.
And so for me, when the conception thing didn't quite pan out, okay, well, let's go and talk to social services and see what happens. And so that went on for a number of years. There were a few things that needed to happen. We had to move house before certain things, and then there were certain medical bits and bobs and whatever else. So we were 3 or 4 years deep into this journey, and we'd moved house, as I say, and whatnot, and various other sort of life changes to help make it possible. And then there was another roadblock. It was there were other medical things, And they said, come back in another 6 months. Well, this was already after a number of those conversations. And I remember Scarlett and I went out camping. And it didn't, I don't think either of us set out for it to be one of those deep and meaningful nights, you know. But it turned out like that. And we were like, okay, maybe let's not go back to them in 6 months. Maybe let's see how we feel about it. Because we'd sort of been on this treadmill for a couple of years, and it was their timeline. It was, you know, we had to move house, and we happened to buy a new build, and it was going to be ready in May next year, and all this kind of stuff. And you know what it's like, nobody ever moves on time, do they? So there was that, and then, you know, one thing and the next thing. And so we were like, well, maybe let's have our timeline for a bit, and we'll come back to it if we feel like we want to. And so, yeah, that was a big shift, and we may or may not go back to that. Neither of us are set one way or the other. And I think that for both of us, it was one of them, well, what's life going to be now then? You know, if you're saying that perhaps I won't be a dad, what will I be? Because everything for the last few years was leading up to that. It was, it was the moving house. It was the absolutely nose down in the business, smashing away to make it be able to run if I wasn't there quite so much. And so when you think about, all right, well, what if that's not your future? What is your future? I think that makes you think about the relationships that you've got, and the way that you structure the next phase of your life.
How do you feel about all that, if you don't mind me asking that question? What are the emotions surrounding that?
Don't use Samaritans, Lee. No, it's a really good question. It's sad because you imagine your future a certain way, and when that changes, it is a little bit like something's been taken away, even though it's not something you had. But I don't. It's not like a day-to-day sadness sort of thing. It's not like, oh my goodness, my life is empty because I'm not a father. That's not how I feel about it. I'm genuinely happy, you know, as we are for the time being. You know, genuinely, and I think it's not this. I hope it's Scarlett as well, but it seems like we're happier than we've ever been at the time being. You know, there's the two of us and the dogs, and we can go camping whenever we want, and this, that, and the next thing. But it does make you think, and so the feelings hard to pin down. I don't have a good answer for you, I'm afraid.
Right, we don't have to have neat answers to feelings, do we?
Yeah.
They're not neat things we can understand as easily as the radios that we take apart or anything.
Yeah, definitely. And joking apart, I'm not used to being the other side of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to ask those questions, but I don't know how to answer it.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason for this podcast, is to try and have conversations that we're not often having. So I really, appreciate you and your wife sharing that part of the story.
Yeah.
Because you talked about people and relationships. One of the main drivers for all of this is so that people feel less alone in whatever it is that they're experiencing. Because we've all got something.
Yeah.
we're all living human lives.
Yeah. And the conversation is I think the important part of it, because when we were doing the whole adoption thing, there's so many processes and very defined steps that you must go through. And so there's a wealth of information online, as you can imagine. And I use Reddit quite a lot. I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but there's a big community of adoptive parents on there. But there's, as in so much in life, there's a lot of judgment there. And there's a lot of pressure and a lot of opinion. And I'm quite sure nobody leans to upset. Well, no, that's not true. It's the internet.
Some do.
Yeah, some do. Yeah, you're quite right. But yeah, I think when you can actually have a conversation and just talk around a subject, because as you say, that's why I think your podcast is great, because if there's somebody else who's going through similar things, you know, it's gone one way for us, it can go another way for somebody else, and either way is okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's certainly no right answers here, and no judgment. It is just, this was our thing.
Yeah.
This is what we did. It worked for us.
Yeah.
And I think what's great about what you said is that you talked about it. That you talked about it openly. You had that night, and that's probably the role of nature, camping, of going to different spaces, almost different time, isn't it?
Yeah.
To create those spaces, or in what you're doing probably in the kitchen on a Friday night, creating those spaces where you're together.
Yeah. That's the thing. You obviously live with your missus and whatnot, and you sort of in each other's pockets, so in that regard. But often you're not speaking to each other properly, are you? And I think it's interesting what you say there. Yeah, that conversation happened when we were out camping. I don't think it would have happened at home.
Yeah. Thank you, camper van.
Yeah, the old bongo bus.
Bongo bus.
Yeah.
Right, we have to take me out of my comfort zone now and talk about cars, because we can't finish off with that, because you mentioned cars right at the beginning as well. They're obviously important to you.
Yeah. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It comes from Dad.
Yeah.
As I say, Dad was he's retired now. He's still here and everything, but he's retired. He was a BMW technician, and so for me, since I was tiny, in fact, I had a noddy car, pedal car. And my dad built BMW stickers and covered the, at my request, I might add, covered the noddy stickers with BMW. So I was the only toddler with a BMW pedal car. It was belter. And so, yeah, for me, BMW's always been, top of the tree. And that was one of the things where, after a few years of working for myself and realising that, okay, this is not likely to go pop tomorrow. We're doing okay. I can have a BMW.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I bought a ridiculous car, which I love. But yeah, it's just I love everything about it. I like going to local car meets and stuff like that. And it's the community aspect of it as well. And it's about. It sounds silly applying it to cars, but it's about there being no right answer again. I like my fast German, sports car thing, but I equally like your tiny little Japanese shitbox. And I like that French hot hatch, and I like this, that, and the next thing, because it's it's got your passion in it, sort of thing, and it's interesting. You get talking to these people and understand their motivation behind things, and you see how happy these inanimate objects make them. Yeah.
So there's people in there again then. People, relationships, community.
Going fast as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Going fast and going sideways. But yeah.
What is it about going fast that...
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? Come on now. Yeah. Again, Max, I remember taking him out not long after I got this dream car of mine, and I'll never forget the noise I made him make. Yeah, it's exciting. It's the caveman bit of your brain, isn't it? It's the noise and the speed, and that bit right at the base of your brain that goes, "Ooh, this is dangerous." Yeah.
I think what I get a real sense from you, Ricky, is that you really know what you love. You seem in tune with things that you love.
Yeah, I suppose.
And you're doing them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as I get older, there are different things that I want to do. I think you're right. I think I I think I do know what I like by now. And I definitely want to wind down the tech and maybe wind up other things. I half joke that I'd like to start a commune. But yeah, I think I'd like to wind down the tech and do a bit more of the Samaritans-like stuff. Maybe not exactly Samaritans, but, things in that
Something's
realm.
drawing in that direction.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about that then. It's fascinating. What?
I think it just goes back to what we were saying earlier. I think the stuff and so when I started out in IT, I was on help desk, and the metric you measure a help desk technician is how many tickets they can close. And I was very competitive with that, and I was, as I say, I was relatively good at that. And it's the same in business. There are certain metrics that you can strive for, and you can feel good when you hit them, and you can give yourself a kick when you don't. And I think I've had a bit of enough of that for now. Well, not enough. I don't want to stop doing that. But I think if I could do a little bit more in nature, if I could do... I've never grown stuff. Would I be good at that? Probably not, but let's give it a go.
Let's find out.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit more driven by people and nature rather than numbers and stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I think something is happening in the world as well. It's happening in us, but it's also happening more and more and more of the people that I speak to.
Yeah.
A sort of yearning for more.
Yeah, more than just
this.
work.
Yeah.
I've heard that an awful lot as well. An awful lot. It's good though, right?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. That's what, Reflective Rebels, that's the whole point. There's more to this.
Yeah. That'd be cool if you were, just putting this out, you can feel like you're being part of that change, can't you?
Yeah, but if your story could inspire one other person who's listened to do something a little bit different next week, job done for me.
Yeah.
Job done.
Nah, good on you, brother.
Well, no, good on you. So what is next then? We finish with what's next, and it feels like there's a gentle change coming in your life. You talked about wanting more of things. Setting up a commune, that's quite the radical end.
Do you know,
I'm intrigued.
I honestly haven't quite worked it out yet. I don't know. There are, you set certain goals for yourself, whether they be, certain KPIs in business or monetary or whatever. And I don't know what the goal is if it isn't a number that I can put on a screen. If it isn't a number of tickets that are closed or whatever else. And I'm still working it out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there needs to be a goal for you to be able to take action?
Yeah, I think there does. Yeah. Yeah, I have always been driven by that number of tickets that are left in the queue, or, that the response speed of an app that we've built or whatever. It can always be quicker. But yeah, when you're talking nebulous stuff, what is the goal?
What is the goal?
Yeah.
Does there need to be one? Is there a goal to camping?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, no, there isn't, is there? There's not. You're good at this, Ben. Yeah, don't know. Good question. Maybe there doesn't need to be a goal. And just float along, see what happens. No.
Thank you for listening. If this conversation stirred something in you, I hope you feel you're not alone. Sometimes hearing someone else's story can help us see our own more clearly. Please support the telling of these stories by following or subscribing wherever you're listening to your podcasts. You can visit reflectiverebels.co.uk/newsletter to sign up for honest insights, podcast updates, and events for exhausted humans. And if you're ready for change in your own story, if you want to move from coping to clarity, from performing to living, then drop me an email about coaching. Because we're done pretending everything's fine. We want more than coping. We want a life that feels like ours. Your story isn't over yet. I'm Ben, And this has been We're Done Pretending, a Reflective Rebels podcast.